Hey all, Steve from GuitarNiche here. Well, I got a funky machine on the bench here, and I noticed that there's some leftover pickguard film under the hardware here, so we're gonna go about removing that, which I see surprisingly quite a bit, and maybe some people don't know how to get at it or remove certain parts, knobs, etc properly, or just don't want to be bothered. But I'll show you just how simple it can be. This will be the interesting part here, okay, to get that to come off and then sit pretty again in the right orientation. Anyway, first things first, okay. The other thing, before I continue, the other thing is I noticed that these knobs are not, they're not oriented conveniently facing the right or the same direction. It just drives me crazy when they're, they're kind of pointing this way. Because they're pointer knobs. They should point, they should be equalized. They should be consistent. Anyway, on with the show. So here's my favorite tool for getting knobs off the instrument. Just a tongue depressor that's got the ends worked on a little bit to thin them out appropriately, and it came off pretty quick. They're not one thing very important, I made sure that they're not set screwed. You try to do this with a set screw knob, good luck, you're going to break something. Check first, okay? Anyway, so all I'm doing is I'm just using that tongue depressor to pry up the knob. I could probably pull them off easily enough, but that's not the point. What we're trying to do here is get at the underlying leftover film from the pickguard material. Okay, so those are off, no problem. This is not finger tight. Well, maybe what I'll do is I'll leave that for last, because that's probably going to be a little more frustrating than these other ones, which are going to be relatively straightforward. As I grab my other tools here. Now, these are, pot metal shafts and stuff. Very prone to breaking if you're abusive. So you got to be careful with that. And instead of using like any kind of specific wrench for these, this is one of my favorite tools. It's just a small open end or box adjustable wrench, I should say. This way, it's always handy. I can. Oh, I should make a point of this. Okay, that turned a little bit. I can always adjust it to the size I need without having to swap tools. Now, the reason I did that was I noticed the pot was turning. I don't want to stress the wiring inside, so I turn the pot to its extreme in this clockwise, and then I use the tool to back off the nut. That way, there's very little pressure on or stress on the internal wiring. Okay, and same thing here, and same thing here. Okay, now if it happens to be a solid shaft pot, such as like on some common Fender products and stuff like that, I'm gonna do this while I'm at it. You got to grab onto it with like a pair of pliers or something like that, just to grip it, just to keep it, from rotating, or you try it, see what's going to happen. Anyway, it's not rocket science. Anyway, this tool here, this is specifically designed for these kinds of nuts for switches. You can get this at Amazon or StuMac. StuMac will probably charge you a little more than Amazon. You don't have to get a branded tool for this. So it's just a threaded collar that will tighten up as you turn it. Okay, so I'm going to get that over top, tighten that up until it sticks. Don't get the plastic version of this. There is a plastic version of this. Don't get that. You'll use it once or twice. It's done. You know, it just doesn't last. Okay, and that's just enough to loosen it. Again, I want to make sure that I'm not stressing the internal wiring there. Now for the special bit. This is where the magic happens. You notice I haven't taken anything right off. I've just loosened it up. And I'm going to give that a little inspection. I would rather not see the pots and stuff come apart. Tweezers, courtesy of Lacrosse. Anyway, yeah, see that? That stuff just comes out nice and neat. With some of the pickguard film like this, you know, I've seen instruments come in where that stuff, it's left over. Well, this one's being a proper pain. And you turn the knob and you can actually hear it. You can hear it underneath it. Man, that's annoying. This one might be a little bit more of a challenge. Man, maybe I'll show you another trick on that one. There are ways to get at this. I'm going to dance with the devil a little bit here. Still, yeah. See, it's not falling in because it's being suspended by the internal wiring, etc. There we go. Okay, so that's what we were trying to get at, was that little underlying piece of plastic. So we'll get that back on there. Get that back on there. Get that started. All we got to do is get one little bit of grip, and the rest, yeah, that's going to be no problem. Now, the switch, I'll take off the collar just for fun. We can hang on to the tip, and there we go. It looks good underneath. See, this is easier because it's not, you know, even if it does fall in, it's like no big deal. You can pull it back up. Okay, get that back on. Start it up. Good. Okay, so with these, you know, sometimes you have no choice but to get underneath there, hold on to the body of the switch, and then crank it on the top. If I can get away with it without having to do that, I'll be happy. Oh, that's sticking. Very nice, very nice. Oh, that turned a little bit. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll pull that back a little bit. Okay, I'm going to pull that over just a little bit. Don't want to force anything too much because that can all wind up real bad. That's good. That's going to hold on just fine. Now, back to these bad boys. Okay, we're going to go reverse. Get my adjustable wrench here. So the screwdriver is keeping the pot from rotating. I mean, geez, that is simply not rocket science, but makes a whole lot of sense. And at the end of the day, I am certainly not putting a whole lot of pressure on any component whatsoever, because the last thing I want to see is half of that shaft or the end of the pot go flying off and winding up on the floor in Never Never Land, and me having to repair it or replace it, because that's just extra work and we don't want to do that. Anyway, and this is super common, whether it's a Strat, Telly, or, well, I guess not a Telly, because Telly's got plastic or metal plates, but yeah, well, you got your model variations, customs, and things like that. Anyway, so those are all nice and right and tight. Now I'm going to turn these all to 10 and button it up like this. Okay. My preference is, if I'm playing and looking down, if I'm on 10, I want to see this pointer looking right at me. So I'm looking down. Typically, you know, the guitar is, you know, hanging or in your lap, and it's not, you're not looking at it like this, you're looking at it like this. So I put them on a little bit of a, maybe 45 from lateral, okay? And see if I can get that to sit pretty. Close enough. Sometimes the knobs or the underlying pot shafts are not perfect, but you know, for what it is, this is just dandy. So they're all at 10 and they all point in the same direction. Switch is right and tight. Done. Didn't even have to take the pickguard off, just like that. Okay? Look at that. This one here, I'm going to, I might go back and tweak that a little bit. You know what? It looks okay. It looks all right. These are all good. Yeah, they're good. They're good. They're good. Anyway, that's how that's done. I'll give it a second look after I address some other things just to double check. But that's how easy taking the knobs off and stuff to get the plastic film underneath the washers, the nuts and stuff, and there you go. It's took a few minutes, big deal. Okay. Anyway, don't be afraid of trying that yourself. It's all good. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Have a great day. Little sound check. We just did a quick setup, restring, tweak on this lovely knockoff of a Ricky 12-string. I still have to put the remnant of this, the second tier of the pickguard back on, but that's incidental. Anyway, just doing a sound check. Sounds like a Ricky. Almost. It's actually about 95% of the way there. Anyway, works, plays, it's all good. Thanks for coming out.